So, my dear Stelios, we are almost ready. We have the wetsuit, the harness, your safety list, the vest, the helmet. Before we go, since this is our first lesson, let me guide you through regarding what our target and objective will be. Okay? As you can see, and probably you already know by the signs, we are an IKO center, which means we are going to follow those levels of progression until we reach the water start and eventually the upwind riding, so you can become independent.
Right.
Now, for today, this is our discovery lesson plan, which means you immediately reach level 1A the moment we actually talk about the sea check. Hold, carry and secure the kite on the beach.
Yes.
Talk about the safety systems, do a pre-flight check and so on and so forth until we reach the end of the lesson with self-landing and equipment packing. These are all things that probably look a little bit unknown or strange to you. We are going to cover each one, and I will let you know on the course of the lesson that we are advancing from level 1A to level 1B, so you can actually get an idea of how quickly you can progress in kitesurfing. Amazing. So let's grab our gear. I have everything ready. Yes. I have our bar and our kite, so we can step on the beach and try to grab a pump which is a little bit further down. Perfect. Now, my dear Stelios, for the time being, we can drop everything on the beach and talk a little bit about something that is very, very important for safety, and this, my friend, has to do with you as an independent kiter in the future visiting different kite spots. Today you are in Paros, in the future you might visit any other Greek island on Gold, Zanzibar, Cape Town, Tarifa in Spain, all kinds of different spots where the wind and the conditions are totally different. So every time you visit a new kite spot and you have absolutely no idea, even if you are an advanced kiter, you have absolutely no idea about, let's say, the dangerous spots that have to do with the spot. Like, for example, rocks, sea urchins, maybe things that have to do with water being super deep or super shallow. You always have to keep in mind, in order for you to remain safe, the first thing you think of is the so-called sea check. C like S-E-A. And as you can understand, my dear Stelios, each letter corresponds to a specific thing that you have to check on the spot that you are visiting. So very, very quickly, the S has to do with the spot. You step on the spot, you try to find out things like what you told me: reefs, rocks, sea urchins. How do you do that? Very simply, you grab an instructor, a local guide, another independent kiter. You try to figure out where and what is this kind of dangerous thing. So for our spot, let me quickly tell you that our teaching area starts upwind, and upwind is the direction that we are actually talking about when we walk towards the wind. Exactly. So this is the beginning of the teaching area, stretching all the way downwind now, and all the way up to our rescue boats. After that, the moment you get into these buoys over there, the white one especially, the water becomes a little bit more shallow. It becomes rocky as well, the bottom, so it's a bit dangerous, because even if you crash with a board, you might get injured. So the safest area to ride and have lessons is this area, from the beginning of the teaching area over there all the way until the end and after the rescue boats. Okay, definitely we don't go more downwind. It's always a good idea, my dear Stelios, later on to have a quick look on your left, check where the kite school building is, so you know that, okay, I passed it, it's a good idea to go out of the water. So this has to do with the S letter. The E letter from the sea check is basically environment. In other words, the weather. Now, we might be in Greece with sunny weather and blue skies. We don't have any extreme weather phenomena. We don't have tides. We don't have strong currents, and I'm talking specifically for our spot. But you can understand that if you visit an area in the southern hemisphere, the tide might be a very, very important thing that you have to be careful of. Okay, because when the tide is high, the water will be everywhere. When the tide is low, the water is going to be very, very low or even non-existent. So S for the spot, E for the environment, and A, once again very important, has to do with the activity on the spot. As you can see, my dear Stelios, it's a very busy day, a lot of kites on the beach, a lot of kites in the water. There are also people swimming, there are also windsurfers. You have to remember, like a kite surfer, we always give priority to everybody else.
Got it.
So when I have my kite flying and there is a family with small children running around and swimming, I take my kite immediately to the other side, and I do the same even with a local fisherman and a fishing boat, or even with someone who is actually windsurfing.
To everyone.
Exactly. We let everyone move their way, we move the other way, because the reasoning is we can do it very, very quickly with a kite. A windsurf would take maybe like a few seconds. We can do it in 1 second, slowly taking the kite from one side to the other. So the seat check is very important, and as we actually do it, okay, we try to make sure there is enough space for us to go in safely. Okay, very good. Now, another important thing, if not the most important thing, my dear Stelios, has to do with the wind. As you can understand, kite surfing is more or less a sailing sport. So like all sailing sports, even windsurfing or sailing alone, the most important thing is the direction of the wind. So could you please tell me, where is the wind coming from?
The wind is coming from that way.
That way. So right now, as I am looking into that direction, the wind is hitting me on my face. Very, very good. So we are facing the wind. So we are looking upwind or downwind?
Upwind.
Very good. And everything that has to do with the remaining distance is a downwind distance. Very, very good. So the first thing we do, even when we step out of our car and get the equipment out, is to pump the kite, and even in that initial stage we need to actually keep our back against the wind. It's a very, very easy concept to understand, because if I try to face the wind and just pump the kite and open it up, I would be covered with it. It's like putting a towel on the beach. So with my back against the wind, I grab the kite, if you can please grab it. And at this point, my dear Stelios, keep in mind that there is only one place on the kite that we handle the kite from. In other words, we grab, we catch the kite, we move it around, mainly from the center.
From the center.
And the center of the kite is probably, as you have guessed already, the point where the valve is.
Okay.
So the moment you grab the kite and you feel this thick surface, you look for the valve, and then you can handle the kite even with one hand, having your back against the wind and letting the wind spread the kite, so it makes your life easier. Okay, now any questions so far, my dear Stelios?
Until here, no.
Very good. Now very, very quickly, we're gonna talk about this when the kite is pumped, so you can see the full shape of the kite. But please keep in mind, there are a lot of parts in a modern kite. You need to know only two very important ones for the moment. The one that you are already grabbing is called the leading edge. Leading edge. You don't have to remember the name so much, but you have to remember that this is the front side of the kite.
It's the place that the air goes in?
Exactly. It's the part of the kite that first is hit by the air, by the wind. Okay? Now, keep this in mind, please, for the moment. And next step is, of course, to inflate the kite. But as you can understand, Stelios, there is a practical problem. Grabbing the pump, keeping the kite safe. So that is the reason why every pump has a nice pump leash.
Okay.
Like the safety leash we have here.
Yes.
A lot of safety leashes in kite surfing, okay, just to be safe. So the first thing we do, the moment we locate the valve, like we did now, is look for this attachment point,
Alright.
because this is exactly where the safety pump lead goes.
Okay.
We insert it, and then the only thing we have to do is keep it under tension, like that.
Okay.
We put the pump on the bits, support it with our feet, and now, as you can understand, the kite is super safe, it doesn't go anywhere. I have both of my hands free, so next logical step, put the hose in and start pumping. Remember, Stelios, this is not a speed race. You
Okay.
don't have to go hectic, take your time, try to use the whole pump and take the maximum air pressure into our kite, and slowly you will see the kite getting into full shape.
Shall I move those?
No worries, I will do it. If you can please grab the pump, support it with your feet and keep pumping. Very good. Now you can see, Stelios, the wind is hitting you on your back, the kite is in front of you, so you have absolutely no problem in keeping the kite safe and pumping it at the same time.
Yep.
Very good. Now, let me tell you very
Shall I
quickly
continue? No.
that there is a sensitive point here about how much air to put in.
Yes.
So usually a modern pump has a nice PSI meter, and you can see the green area is where we want it to be. The problem is sometimes the PSI meter on the pump